Dana, I feel like it's safe to say over the past year and a half, not everything has gone to plan in this world. So how cool is it to have the big return show in Vegas, 100% fans back, happen to be a Conor McGregor fight?
Yeah, no, it's been, it's funny because when you say things haven't gone to, according to plan, it's all worked out. It's all worked out for us, over the last year and a half. And obviously, for the big weekend for Vegas to be back, I mean, you got sold out Conor McGregor versus Poirier at the T-Mobile. You got Garth Brooks selling out Raider Stadium. Rogan and Chappelle Thursday and Friday night at the MGM Grand. Bieber's performing this weekend. Drake's doing something this weekend. The list just goes on and on. I can sit here for an hour telling you who's doing what, but it's without a doubt. I mean, if you look at all the massive things that have happened in Vegas throughout the years, this has to be one of the biggest weekends ever.
Yeah, I saw you guys put out a thing on your social media about the sort of economical impact a McGregor fight has. How many people come here, place bets? How many whales come into town? You got every casino filling up. Is it crazy? Do you hear from these people like, "Oh, thanks for this event. We're doing crazy business"?
Yeah, they get excited, for a McGregor fight. That's why we came up with the concept for that piece. But yeah, it's just, there's this buzz and energy around a McGregor fight that reminds you of the Tyson days. He's at a level of Tyson, Holyfield, De La Hoya when he was, on top, and the list goes on and on. He's one of the all-time moneymakers for Vegas.
He's not just moneymakers for Vegas, moneymakers for himself. He's obviously topped the Forbes list. Again, I saw you shared that on social media. I'm curious, for you personally, not even as a business partner, but personally, is it cool to see something like that? Someone like you've worked with, build up, work alongside, to see them make that sort of success for themselves. Is that a cool thing for you?
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I mean, we love it. We love when we see all the things that he does outside of the octagon and the business that he has turned himself into. It's fun. It's awesome. Couldn't be happier for him. And kids worked hard and made a lot of right moves and done it.
Have you seen that growth in him? Because I remember, I think the first time he came to Vegas, you were like going down the strip in the convertible, and he's gone from this sort of excitable young guy who just loves fighting to a very successful businessman. Have you seen that growth in him?
Yeah, the thing is with Conor from day one since I met him, Conor has this magnetic personality, and I was like, listen, if the kid can fight, if he can hang here, he's going to be a huge superstar. And he is. I mean, he's and not just. I mean, this kid is a global superstar worldwide. This fight this weekend has more celebrities coming than any fight ever in UFC history. Got more pre-buys than any fight in UFC history. And I've been saying, to fans, if you know that you're buying this fight this Saturday night, do it now. Do it this week. Don't do it on Saturday. Going to be 2-3 million people trying to buy at the same time. That's where you have the problems. And I think a lot of people are smart. That's why this has more pre-buys than anything ever. Get it now so you don't have to deal with it on Saturday.
I think we could be looking at record breaking here.
I think so. I think that this is going to be, it's obviously the biggest pay-per-view of the year. But yeah, I think it's the perfect fight. It's one of those trilogy fights. People love trilogies. What Conor did to Poirier the first fight, what Poirier did to Conor the second fight. These guys are both in a position right now, if they win on Saturday night, for a title shot. I mean, there's just so much on the line. The trilogy, these are fun fights.
Let me ask you a brief UFC history question. When you think of trilogies, before this Saturday, what's the biggest UFC trilogy you remember putting on?
The biggest trilogy.
Well, the most important in the history of the company, because trilogies, they have this thing about them, right? There's something about a trilogy that they stick there forever. They're historical. When you think of trilogies in the UFC, which one comes to your mind first?
Yeah, I think the first one would have to be, Jones and Cormier.
Jones and Cormier, or Cormier and Miocic. Jones and Cormier too.
Yeah, that's right.
Like I always think of Liddell Couture, right? That was 3. That was very important for the company. Or even Ortiz Shamrock was good. I mean, it was a bit one-sided, but it was very important for the company back in those days as well, right?
It was, but that wasn't. The Ortiz Shamrock one wasn't like Couture and Liddell. Nobody expected Couture to win that first fight. Couture went in and beat Liddell. Liddell definitely didn't expect it. Then Liddell gets better prepared for the second and third fight. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, fucking Jones beat Cormier twice. Yeah.
I mean, he booked it so many times. Maybe that's why you think it happened 3 times, but it always fell through, right? Because of Jones and.
Yeah. No, that isn't what happened. But thanks for trying to save me.
Okay, I tried. I helped you out. When you look at this fight in terms of in the octagon, how much different does Conor need to show up on fight night to get the win here? Does he need to change the entire strategy? Does he need to make small little alterations? What does he need to do?
No, I don't know. Conor looked damn good in that first round. I don't know how well he prepared for that fight. I don't know what he did. I don't know, the difference between his training camp for that fight or this fight. I can tell you this, from what I can see, he's taking this fight a lot more serious than he did the last fight. He's doing things, he's basically shut down. He's in his own little world, doing his thing. He feels like the old Conor McGregor.
Is that what he needs to do at this point? There's so much outside of fighting for him that just to close down, focus on the camp, that's like perfect for him at this point, you think?
Yeah, I think so. But again, only Conor knows what Conor needs to tweak and fix and do. I can tell you this, Poirier is training down, in Florida with savages every day. He wants this fight worse than anything. You got to look at being hungry. There's no doubt that Poirier has to be more hungry than McGregor. He wants all the things that McGregor have. He was criticized for taking this fight and not taking the title fight. He absolutely positively did the right thing. This was the fight to take.
I think most of those people who criticize him would have definitely taken the Conor McGregor fight, Yeah,
100%. Exactly. All the people criticizing him, if they were in his position, they'd have taken the Conor fight. It was the right thing to do. Because if he can win on Saturday night, he wins the trilogy against McGregor, and then he moves on to fight for the title anyway. And a lot more people know who he is after this fight.
Is that the definite move for the winner? They fight for the title?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's not set in stone. I mean, anything can happen after the fight. Who knows? But yeah, it makes sense.
In terms of that division, are we ready to announce Gaethje versus Chandler yet? Is that the plan?
I am, but we don't have anything done yet.
Was there ever talk of making a backup for the main event? I mean, obviously touch wood, but was there ever talk of using one of those guys as backup for?
Yeah, I mean, we always are looking for a backup for the fight. We do have a backup for this fight. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. That's not good. Huh? Yeah, I think so. I can't remember off the top of my head. I just called Jones versus Cormier a fucking trilogy.
I actually felt fucking so bad when he said that, dude. I was like, oh no, he's gonna look awful. I get it, eh? Do you know what's actually funny? I will let you off here. Recently at a post-fight press conference, I asked Tanner Boza, like, oh, have you ever looked at someone as big as Cyril Gane and thought what it would be like to fight them? He's like, I did fight Cyril Gane, but you put on so many fights every weekend. I can't remember them all at this point, man.
Yeah, no, it's true. And for some reason, when you were asking me that, how the fuck would I not know that Jones beat Cormier twice? That's hilarious.
Speaking of John Jones,
well, give me another trilogy. What's another big I'm sitting here. Who?
Kane versus JDS. You got Frankie versus Gray Maynard.
Yeah.
GSP, Matt Hughes.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's all right. You're welcome. Use those for the next one. Speaking of John Jones, have you spoken to Richard Schaefer yet?
What's that?
Have you spoken to Richard Schaefer yet?
Yeah, Richard Schaefer came in here and met with us. We had a good discussion, and I think that we educated him a lot on how this business runs and how it works.
So no breakthrough on that, just a sort of reevaluation of where he needs to be with John.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I haven't heard anything since he left. So, I don't know where they are with that. And realistically, John said he's not fighting until next year anyway. So,
bit of an obscure question. I remember a couple of years ago, you said that when Zuffa Boxing was still on your mind, you'd hired an executive to run it for you. Was that Richard Schaefer?
No, but I had talked to a lot of people. Richard Schaefer was one of them. About the ins and outs of the business. And I just, the model is just so broken, and we still kick around ideas on how to fix it. Yeah.
But you think with Richard and John, there's no movement on it. He's going to have to come back with a completely different package now that you've had that meeting.
Yeah, and listen, John's under contract. You know, everybody keeps asking me about, you know, what are you going to do with this? What are you going to do with this? These guys are under contract. Look, contract with them.
So on to your next conflict with Francis. I don't want to be one of these guys who are like, oh, why did you make an interim title? I get it. But you always say we got fights. We need to put them on. We have markets to put them on in.
I got fights every Saturday.
If you want to fight, you can. If you don't
want to fight, don't fight. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want to do. Nobody's pressuring anybody to fight anybody here. I have number 2 versus number 3, which are the 2 best. The other one, number 1 is Stipe, right? Who just fought. I got the 2 best heavyweights in the world. I got one who beat Francis, who already has a win over Francis, and the other one is undefeated. So these 2 will fight. We will see who will win, and then the winner of that will fight Francis, and then the winner of that will probably fight Stipe.
I understand what you did. I just wanted to clarify. Does the interim title come with pay-per-view points? Does the winner get pay-per-view points going in? So actually, it's better for the number. It's like a number contendership, but better for the guy who fights Francis.
And whoever wins is champion versus champion, and that's pay-per-view too. Yeah. So, listen, nobody loses in this scenario.
So what's the issue with Francis's management? For you to go public like that, what was the issue with that?
You know, it's funny. I wasn't even talking about him. I was just responding to him. He's not the one. He's not the, believe me, he's not the one. They know who the one is. It's not him. I was just responding to him saying, oh, this was a shock to us. And I said, no, it wasn't. You knew this was coming. And, you know, it's not a shock at all. You're full of shit. But as far as him, he's not the problem.
What's the issue with the other guy?
I think the big issue with the other guy is we had a deal and he came back and said, no, we don't, after we had already said we had a deal. We'd already agreed to a deal.
Has this been a long-running issue with Francis? Because I remember back in the day you said he had a bit of an ego problem, or is this something that's new that's come with his recent success?
No, I think the ego problem was a whole different situation. It's not even worth getting into, but you know, we got past that. We got past all that. I mean, he had lost two in a row there, I think, at one point, you know, and we could have parted ways with him, but we didn't. We stuck with him, and now he's the world champ, and you know, see how this plays out.
Do you think this is going to be like a long-running issue with this manager? You clearly have an issue with him, or do you think it's something you can resolve? And
it's the guy from CAA, not the guy who was talking tough on Instagram. It's that guy's. It's not even the guy I was talking about. It's his other manager. I don't know what the pecking order is over there, but yeah, we had a deal. Then he came back and said we didn't have a deal. And whatever. Listen, whatever. I'm putting on fights every Saturday. Like I said, we got the interim championship happening now, and the winner of that, if Francis wants to fight, we'll fight Francis.
Last couple from me, and we spoke before about how you don't want people asking about this guy's next fight, this guy's next fight. The Diaz brothers, you working on something for Nate and Nick?
Working on something for Nick. I mean, we're trying to get the Nick thing done right now. You know, like I said before, I'm confident he'll fight this year. But if he doesn't fight this year, he's not fighting.
What level do you bring him in at, right? Because he's been gone for so long. Do you put him against, like, I mean, for a second there, they were talking about Hamzat. What level do you bring him at?
Listen, I'm hearing stories of him having incredible sparring sessions. The guy's still doing triathlons. It's not like a lot of times what happens is when a guy leaves for a while, you know, they don't work out and they don't do anything for a few years. And they might go in the gym and mess around, but they're not training at that level. This kid's a world-class athlete, you know? So I don't know. We'll see.
Could it be Hamzat?
No, it won't be Hamzat.
Who is for Hamzat?
We're looking at a fight for him in October.
Is that in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. He could be a big star in that region for you, right? Okay, we'll round it up.
He could be a big star globally. I mean, if you look at, when you talk about that region, you look at what Habib did, you know, he was a massive star in that region, but he ended up becoming a global superstar for us.
There was a report recently that he was looking to focus on 170 going forward, and the 2 division thing had kind of come to an end for him for a while. Is that something you heard, and is that something you're okay with, that he just focuses on welterweight for now?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I think we're all wrapped up here. Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier III, this Saturday night in Las Vegas.